This is the third tutorial of teaching you how to use some of the aspects of Fusion 360. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Revolve tool to make objects that are circular and that then become 3D. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try and make this Coke bottle that you see in front of you now. You'll notice that it's obviously circular and it's also looks like it's made from glass, and I'm going to be showing you later on how to add appearances and add materials to your designs to make them look a little bit more realistic as well. Okay, so what you need to do to revolve something is you need to click on New Design, and then what we're going to do is we're going to produce the side profile of your Coke bottle. Once we have your side profile, we can then revolve it, spin it to make it into something that's a solid object. Now, it's worth noting that it's always best practice to produce whatever you're designing on Fusion 360 the exact size that you want it to be. What I've done is I found a picture of a Coke bottle with all the measurements on it, and I have it next to me that I'm working off as reference. Okay, so to get started, the first thing you need to do is we need to produce a center line. So I'm going to click Sketch, and then I'm going to click Line. If you want to, you can just click L on your keyboard as the shortcut. So now I want to know where I want to draw my line on, which plane. So I'm going to select the right hand plane by clicking on it, and then I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to draw the line right in the center here on this green line, and I want this line to be 200 millimeters, and that's going to be the height of my Coke bottle. So I'm going to type in 200, click Enter, and there is my line 200 millimeters high. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to decide on the thickness I want my Coke bottle to be, and Coke bottles are larger at the bottom than they are at the top, so I'm going to add two lines, one at the bottom, and I'm going to make this one 25. Okay, and then I'm going to draw another line at the top, clicking on L, and I'm going to make this one 15. Okay, so I now have the basic sizes of my Coke bottle. I'm just going to delete all of these measurements just so to move them out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so there is my start of my bottle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to produce the side profile of my bottle in this space here. So to do that, I'm going to be using curve lines. Now they're called curve lines splines. Okay, and basically how they work is that to draw a spline, you start in one position, then where you want it to bend, you then click, and then it keeps going, creating curved lines. Okay, so if I wanted to draw my Coke bottle, I would what I'm trying to do is replicate this shape of the Coke bottle on the side profile. Now you will have more time than I've got during this demonstration, so what I might do is I might skip ahead to one I produced earlier, and then you can see it actually looking fine. But there's a rough Coke bottle sort of profile. So I'm going to just go over to my other one that I made. Here's one I made earlier, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So there's my side profile of my Coke bottle. If I zoom in on particular areas, I've added some nice detail up the top here of the top where the lid goes on. I've also added a bit of detail in here for where the label of the Coke bottle will be. Okay, so what I've done is I've used the spline tool to actually create this side profile. Now, if you're not happy with your shape, what you can do is you can edit them by clicking on here. Okay, then these can be moved around. Okay, so you can edit your splines like that. Sometimes they will also become handles, which you can drag these green things here, and then you can adjust them in like so as well. Okay, but once you're happy with your side profile, what we then need to do is we need to revolve it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to the Create tool up here, and I'm going to revolve. Now we've used Extrude before. The one below that is the Revolve tool. Okay, and as you can pretty much guess, revolve means spinning something. So I'm going to select the Revolve tool. Okay, clicking on it, and then the Revolve tool here, the Revolve box comes up, and I need to tell it some certain things. I need to first tell it what profile I want to revolve, so what shape, if you like. Then I need to tell it what axis I want it to revolve around. So I've got the profile selected. I select my profile. Okay, I also need to zoom in and select all these little bits that I want to revolve as well. Okay, and then bring it back into the center, and then I need to select the axis. Okay, so up here it tells me all the 4 profiles that I wanted are selected. Now I need to select the axis. So click on select axis, and then the axis is where you want the object to spin from or spin around. So I need it to spin around this center point here, so this line that I drew to begin with. So I'm going to click on this line, and then you'll notice it become a solid object. It spins. Up here we have the number of degrees that we want it to spin by. So we want it to spin all the way around, so that would be 360. If you want it to go to halfway, for example, you could change your dimensions up here to 180, and if I spin round, you'll notice only half my Coke bottle. Okay, but for our Coke bottle now, we want this to be 360 degrees. Okay, so there is my Coke bottle. Now it doesn't look much like a Coke bottle at the moment because it doesn't have any materials added to it. How do I add materials? Okay, so to do that, you need to bring up the appearance box. So you click A on your keyboard. Okay, so at the top here now, I have my appearance box actually appearing now on the screen. So if I click plus, I have the choice of all of these different materials here. Okay, so I've used glass before, so that's why it's highlighted, but we can make it something out of glass, we can make it out of leather, we can make it out of metal, all these different options, and I suggest you have a play around having a look at what the different materials do for your designs. Okay, but for this one we want glass. Okay, so I'm going to click on glass, and then I've got all these choices of different types of glass. Do I want it green? Do I want it red? Do I have bronze, blue? I don't. I just want mine clear. So I'm going to click on clear, and then I'm going to drag it across, and that's changed the whole bottle to glass. Okay, now when you're transferring materials, you have 2 options. You can either change the whole of the object, or you can just select a particular face. And to do that, you select faces, then you drag the material across to the face that you want to color in that particular material. Okay, so if you've got a particularly complicated object that you wanted to color in lots of different materials and have faces made from different materials, you could do it in that way. So I now have my Coke bottle made from glass. Now at the moment it is still a solid object. It's still completely solid all the way through. So to make it more realistic and to make it look like an actual bottle, I need to hollow it out. So what I can do to hollow something, if I go up to modify and then I go to shell, okay, shell gives us the option to actually take out the material from inside. So I'm going to click on shell, and I can then shell the object. So clicking on shell, I then need to pick the surface that I want to then shell it from. So we want the top surface to be shelled. Then what I can do is I can adjust how thick I want it to be. So I can do that by dragging in my arrow, or alternatively I can change the thickness. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it, as I say, 2 millimeters. And what that does is has a 2 millimeter wall thickness all the way around the top of the bottle here. Okay, so click OK, and you can see now it's become a hollow object. So there is a few pointers on how to revolve an object, add an appearance, and also hollow out an object. The next tutorial we'll be looking at is how to render an object, how to make pictures from it, and also how to add decals. So for an example, we could add the Coca-Cola label to the outside of the bottle.